Welcome to Talkin VAWLS, episode number 93. It's been a minute, fellas. My name is Boogie Bentley.
I'm Balls JP.
And I'm UT Dauber. What's happening?
So the SEC just released the schedule for 2020. We're going to get into that. We're going to break it down. I'm hoping JP goes on a rant, but I don't know what he can rant about. We'll figure it out. But first and foremost, I want to thank everybody for being here. I guess we're all just looking for some sense of normalcy in our lives, and we love to talk about football. That's what we're going to do tonight. Make sure you guys smash that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share out the link. Let's see how many people we can get in here talking about football on this random. What is it? Is it Monday night? I don't even know what night it is.
Yeah,
it's Monday. It's Monday night. It's Monday night.
It's been a Monday all day, brother.
Not for me. I didn't work. I've not worked in 4 days, so I don't even know what day it is. Jeremy Davis hanging out in the chat, throwing up those Talkin VAWLS emojis. Randy Wilson is here. I am here. Go Big Orange. Tim Bradley is here and says, come on with it. Robert Craig is here. He's ready for the schedule release party. UT Tanner is here and says, what's up, guys? Again, we're glad you're here. Make sure you guys smash that thumbs up, share out the link. Let's grow the live chat. Let's have some fun. I'm going to put VAWLS JP on blast. I'm putting JP on blast right out of the gate because I thought he was going to be the one that came out hot. The schedule has been released. JP, what are your opening thoughts on the 2020 schedule?
Well, considering that they kind of gave Tennessee the shaft a little bit when they announced the two additional opponents, overall, when you look at the schedule week by week, it's probably as good as a Tennessee fan could probably hope for. Start out with two very winnable games at South Carolina, Missouri. By week 3, then you travel to Georgia. Of course, they're going to be breaking in a new quarterback, whichever one it is. And then you've got Kentucky and Alabama at home. Could be a potential trap game with the Kentucky Wildcats. I saw where Cole Kublik has them actually 5th in his power rankings in the SEC this year, which is interesting. But the back end of the schedule, Texas A&M, Auburn, back-to-back weeks. You might want to seen that mixed up a little bit, but you got Arkansas, real not crazy about playing them off of the bye. Would almost rather have maybe played Texas A&M off of the bye and then have Arkansas and then Auburn. But overall, I don't think that we can really complain about it. And I love getting Florida Gators at home in December. I hope that it is like bone chilling. I hope the wind's blowing 30 miles an hour. I hope they snow spitting. I just hope that we basically just freeze the Florida Gators.
UT Tanner says, what about Cade Mays? Tanner, we're going to get into that. We're going to talk some of the practice notes. Obviously, Coach Pruitt had a press conference immediately after practice. We're going to get into some of that, but first and foremost, we're going to break down this schedule. Dauber, what were your opening thoughts once you kind of saw everything play out on SEC Now less than an hour ago?
Yeah, like JP just said, the way it shapes up, the way everything lines up, it does kind of soften the 5 preseason ranked teams that we're getting, picking up A&M and Auburn on the 10-game SEC conference only schedule. I've already got a text from my brother-in-law who is an Alabama fan, and he's already making excuses.
Oh, I bet he's complaining. I bet he's not happy.
Excuses. He said Tennessee got Alabama at a good time. Right after we play Georgia.
Hey, let's be honest. We were all expecting some type of JP rant. We all said it. We all said the SEC is going to lay it to Tennessee. And I think Tennessee, the way the schedule lays out, looks pretty good. The fact that you've got Alabama coming off of Georgia, Missouri in the second week coming off of Alabama. I think Tennessee lucked. I'm not saying they lucked up. I'm saying things look pretty good for Tennessee on paper.
Yeah, I mean it's the way it's set up is favorable. You're talking a 10-game conference season though, and what's the hardest part of a schedule year in and year out? That conference grind.
Right.
And this is a conference grind year. You're talking about 10 games. What is it? Is it 5-5? I didn't catch that.
What?
Road
Home and
and
away?
home?
Or-
Yes, yeah, 5-5.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, you're talking 5 road games in the SEC, and then you're talking 5 conference games at home, and week in and week out, you're getting your best. And Tennessee is on the upswing. They're riding off that momentum from last year, and man, it seems like if anything's going to happen for a team to come in or a quarterback to find his game and show out, it's against Tennessee. So there's no off week. I'll put it that way.
No, and that's what makes it interesting, because I was talking about that watching the Feinbaum show when all we had seen was the South Carolina game. I'm like, look, it doesn't matter how they spin it, how this comes out. You're talking about 10 SEC games.
Yeah.
So no matter how you spin it, how you twist it, you can put it however you want to put it. This is going to be a grind, but we know that because we know SEC football.
Well, but the thing is, every SEC school has to play this year. So, I mean, it's not like that, Tennessee's playing Oklahoma for one of their other games and Alabama's playing the Citadel or something like that,
Right.
So, but yes, I mean, although it's obvious that the SEC played favoritisms as far as Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and LSU. I mean, just look at their open dates, Open date for Bama is before LSU. Open date for LSU is before Bama. Open date for Georgia is before Florida. Open date for Florida is before Georgia. So amazing how that actually worked out, right?
I should have had my screen ready for this. Is the rant I was waiting on.
He's pretty chill right now.
Yeah, but you're right. Like, I know what you're saying. There's no doubt the SEC is going to protect those top teams because they want those top teams to be sitting at the top at the end of the season. But as a Tennessee fan, when you look at this schedule, it lines up pretty good for Tennessee.
It does. It does. Georgia, in my opinion, by far has the easiest schedule on paper out of those top 4 teams by far. But they do have what you would consider a difficult schedule at the very beginning. Yes, they get Arkansas, but then they got to play Auburn, Tennessee, and Alabama back to back to back in 3 consecutive weeks. So Tennessee gets Georgia right after they play Auburn. So I'm going out on a limb right now.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
The leg humpers. Tennessee beats the leg humpers.
Okay. You heard it here first, folks. I don't know what else to say to that. I like Tennessee's schedule. I like, the matchup with South Carolina right out of the gate. I told you guys when we were kind of texting earlier today before anything was released, I kind of wanted Tennessee to get Florida right out of the gate, beat the piss out of them, and come out firing on all cylinders. But this is you're kind of getting a chance to tune up the band. I like the South Carolina matchup. Look, we can talk about road games in the SEC. Diver, how much of an impact is a road game in the SEC in today's climate?
Well, in 2020, when we don't know how many fans are going to be there, we don't know what the situation is going to be, it's hard to tell. What difference is that going to make? Are the schools going to get away game tickets? Are bands going to travel? I mean, there's still a lot of unknowns in this whole thing, and you're talking if you've got 65,000 capacity or something, and you're cutting that in half. I mean, is that really going to be that much of an advantage?
And that's being generous. Cutting it in half is generous. I could see 25%. I don't know what they're going to do, but I just think the impact on the road is going to be way less significant, other than, clearly you're going to be more comfortable in Knoxville. You don't have to travel. There's no road schedule. There is going to be some impact there, but as far as noise, I don't know that it's going to be a factor.
No, I mean, I think that you can pretty much throw out the home field advantage. I mean, I just don't see it happening, even with 20,000 people in the stands. I mean, can you imagine how quiet Neyland Stadium is going to be if there's like 20,000 people there? And
Yeah.
and
it'll
everybody,
be like an orange and white game.
well, yeah, and everybody. I mean, it'll probably be even much different, say, than that, because there won't be anybody really close together. I mean, they'll all be spaced out. So
Yeah.
I mean, like we've talked about before on some of these this summer that we've done. I mean, this is just going to be just a wild card year. I mean, hopefully that we can make it through a 10-game season, but we'll just have to see. But I just don't know what that is going to be like, but I just can't imagine that there'll be much of a home field advantage. I just don't see it. And that kind of, what stinks about it is I would love to attend that Florida game December, because I've always wanted to see that Tennessee Florida game get pushed back, and now it's probably not going to, we're not going to get to witness it in person at least.
But still, I mean, it goes back to 2001. That's the last time, right, that Tennessee's played Florida late in the season. That's my daughter's birthday, actually. I went down the hall as soon as they announced it. I said, guess what we're doing for your birthday? We're going to watch Tennessee and Florida. So it's going to be interesting. Look, there's a lot of people hanging out in the live chat, a lot of new names that aren't familiar with Talkin VAWLS. We appreciate you being here. Do hit that thumbs up. It helps the channel. Subscribe. We go live every Wednesday and every post game during the season. Hopefully we have a season to talk about, but make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are glad that you're here. Dobber, what do you think? You think we're going to make it through the season? Because, I mean, just today it came out that UNC has already gone from on-campus classes. Everything's going to be over the computer. They've sent the students home, which, if we want to play football, maybe that's the best way for us to play football, is send all other students home.
I don't know. I was talking to some softball folks today, and we've been playing tournaments for a couple weeks. All the local stuff has been shut down. We're actually traveling around a little bit to find some tournaments within driving range. But got a couple that have had exposures within families, and even here locally, some high schools, they're being impacted right now. You've got, I think, Sullivan South. There were a couple of Science Hill basketball players, Volunteer, North, Greenville pushed back some of their games. I don't know how the SEC is going to handle a situation when it comes up, because if you look at major sports that have come back during this time, Major League Baseball is the only one not in a bubble, and they've had two pretty bad instances in the Marlins and the Cardinals, and it goes back to you're talking about grown men not being able to adhere to policies and procedures and rules that have been put forth so that they can protect their team and then the other teams in the league. Now you're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-old kids who, if they've been there before, they're used to playing a game and then going out on the strip and hanging out and doing all this stuff. So how do the teams, how does the league address that and say, hey guys, listen, this is, if you want to continue to play, these are things that we cannot do, because we're not all living in one hotel in one place. There is travel. There's all this other stuff going on. The things that you have to be able to control, you control.
And that's something. Did you see the Alabama athletic director tweeted out a picture, and those kids basically showed up on campus, went to class, and then immediately went out to party. And they were kids scattered everywhere, no masks. That's what 18 to 20-year-old kids are going to do. Look, I'm almost a 40-year-old man, and I'm like, should I be wearing a mask? I'm wearing one because they tell me to. But what do you think an 18-year-old kid is going to do? And that's also something that Pruitt addressed in the press conference today.
Mm-hmm.
He said that the Vols have had 23 positive tests, and talking about, having a lot of lessons to learn, and they gave the kids some time off around the 4th of July. And when the kids come back, the positive tests increase because, you can't control these kids when they're away from you. And so unless you're going to lock them down in a bubble, like you said, I don't know how that's going to play out. Hopkins Lacrosse fan is here, dropping a $10 super chat. Cornell, we love you, buddy. He says, whenever the band gets back together, I am one happy Marylander. Crab cakes and football. That's what Maryland does.
What's up, Hop?
Miss my guys. Go Big Orange. Thanks, Cornell. We appreciate your support. Guys, if you want to guarantee your chat is read online, you could do a super chat. I don't care if you do $2. Whatever you want to do, all of it goes to building the brand of Talkin VAWLS, but we definitely appreciate all the support. What do you think, JP? What do we have an answer? Do you think they have an answer? What can they do moving forward? A lot of people are saying, hey, if they're playing football, then I have more control over them. If we cancel this season, then these kids are there's going to be way more positives if we don't play football.
And I agree with that. I firmly agree with that. But the concern that I have is just like what's happened over there at North Carolina is when all the students come back. I mean,
they moved in Saturday.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to happen.
One party weekend. Party weekend. I mean, that's all it took.
It is going to happen, and it's going to explode as far as the tests go, or the positive if they're testing on a regular basis. So that's the thing that I'm interested in seeing is how will these conferences deal with a positive test? Is the whole team shut down? Is it just the one player shut down? Because I just don't know how that we're going to continue to have a season if they continue to just call off a game every single time somebody tests positive. I just don't see how that could happen, because in my opinion, then you're not going to be playing very many football games at all.
No, not with pushing the season back 3 weeks. Had they started on time, even with just conference only, that they could have built in some room there. But logistically, that was just, I think, too tough to do. But yeah, I mean, you're talking. What if a defensive lineman contracts it? Who's he in meetings with? Who's he doing everything with? That position group.
But yeah,
is the whole defensive line quarantined?
I know. I mean, you'll have to forfeit.
Surely they're wearing masks and all that, close contact in meetings and video and all that, and they're doing small groups. Because listen, I mean, we've heard Pruitt and we've heard Fulmer and some other people saying, we're doing what we can to limit exposure and this and that. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those tough things, and we really that's the whole thing. Since March, everything has been sort of so fluid and unknown and changing so often. Not just the landscape of college football, but the world as a whole. I mean, it seems like we're told something one week, and then they're like, "Oh no, forget that. Let's do it this way."
I don't know that there's an answer, because, you guys talking about what happens if an offensive lineman gets it. I think we're to the point that if we're going to play football, the only way to go about this is if you test positive, you got to sit for a certain amount of time, whether that's the 14 days, that's the time frame we hear, right? The 14 days is the time frame we hear. I don't think you can do this. Well, everybody you've been in contact with, because that shuts down the whole team. But what happens when a coach gets it? What happens when Pruitt gets it? Is he going to be allowed to sit in the locker room and coach, or does he have to sit at home and watch? These are questions that I think the SEC has had to sit down with doctors and experts. There's a reason the SEC is trying to move forward, and they are saying well, obviously that's the number one. But if you're going to do this, you got to dot your I's, cross your T's, all that good stuff, right? You can't just move forward because of money, even though we all know that's why they're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, money's the root of it. But you look at these young men. take Trey Smith, for instance. He is in a category where he is high risk with the blood clots, with the medicines he's on, with all of his underlying medical conditions. Trey Smith came out, has said, I've talked about it with my family, talked about it with my coaching staff, talked about it with the team doctors. For me and my dreams and ultimate goals in my life, I want to play. That is my decision, and that is how I want to proceed. Now, you've got, I saw, I think Florida had 4 guys not show up to practice today. Read Derek Mason commented about, I think he had 3 or 4 that have opted out for the season. I think it was actually Dan Mullen was saying he wouldn't be surprised if there were some coaches opt out of the season. Because coaches are of that age range that is a higher risk for contracting COVID. So it's, I mean, we're not going to know until the ball gets put on the tee and kicked off. And I mean, they have been behind closed doors, having meetings, doing Zoom calls since March, and trying to get the best path forward and allow these athletes, these student athletes, to play the game. And you know, I mean, ultimately, they have football is the driving force is money, but you've got a lot of young men. You know, Boogie, you hit on in your special teams video the "We Want to Play" hashtag that got trending, and a lot of people pushing that. I think Trevor Lawrence at Clemson kind of spearheading that and getting that going. Well,
look at Justin Fields. He started a petition for the Big Ten to look at their decision and reinstate college football. I think the Big Ten thought, all right, we're going to cancel and everybody's going to follow suit.
That's what they thought. Yeah.
And then it didn't happen, and it's like, oh, no, what happened?
Well, we texted back and forth that day, and I said, man, they look awful silly right now. And I said, I like how the SEC is doing it. Plan like you're going to play. You know, get everything ready, get it lined up, and you make the decision if you're going to cancel the season. That's your last option.
The absolute last moment is when you make that decision. I want to go back to something Dauber touched on a little bit earlier, and that's players opting out. I mean, we've got kids at Auburn that are already opting out. Vanderbilt has 3 starting offensive linemen that have opted out. You've got players at Florida that didn't show up to practice. What does all this mean? If players opt out, you know, we're hearing that the NCAA is going to grant them an extra year of eligibility. Cool, that's all great and fine. We're hearing that schools are going to still honor their scholarships. That's all fine too. What happens, JP, when you have X number of scholarships for incoming players, but maybe you don't have the finances to extend to 100, or I don't know what the NCAA is going to honor. 100, 115, I don't know. But what if you don't have the finances? Are you going to tell a senior that the NCAA has said, hey, you got an extra year of eligibility. Hey, we're gonna honor your scholarship, but me as a Tennessee football coach says, best of luck in your future endeavors. We don't need you this year.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, because I mean, you got 85 scholarships that you can give out. So if you've got 6 or 7 players that you were planning on, you know, their eligibility up at the end of this year, and then they opt out, and who knows really if they're going to come back or not, because you've always got that. So then you're limited in what you can sign. So, I mean, it could really, and it's not fair, in my opinion, that if you've got a team, say Vanderbilt, that they end up with several players that opting out, which, you know, they've already got some that's saying it's not fair, in my opinion, for those schools to get, you know, those extra number of scholarships for that next year. So, but one thing about it, I mean, we fully expect the NCAA to make a joke out of it, whatever they do. So it'll be some big mess. But There's all kinds of issues like that. I mean, all kinds of issues like that. And these conferences like the Big Ten and the Pac-12, and what I really hate it for is for these non-Power 5 schools and these FCS programs, because I mean, you just look at ETSU up here in Johnson City. I mean, you just really worry what's going to happen to them
when they fought so hard to bring back that football.
Yeah, I mean, could this 1 year of not generating any kind of revenue at all? I mean, are they going to have to lay off all those coaches? What are they going to do there? And what kind of impact does it have on these other programs that they have, these other teams? It's going to be there's going to be a lot of collegiate athletes that have been used to, earning scholarships in all these other sports that it's just not going to happen anymore.
And I'll expand on that a little bit more and throw this out there. We had a couple comments earlier from a friend of mine who is in college athletics. It doesn't just it's not just the athletic department only. You've got the marketing departments at different administration levels within athletics, such as tickets and all these other things, and those people are also affected. Yep. I was going to piggyback on one other thing you said as well. With the Big Ten and the Pac-12 canceling their seasons, does that play into what the NCAA will allow them to do with scholarships versus the SEC, who these guys are playing and using a year of eligibility? That was kind of one of my questions that I've not seen addressed anywhere. But it's different than what if you look back in spring sports like baseball and softball, women's soccer, all those things that were going on last year in March when everything was shut down. Colleges were closed, kids were sent home. All of the spring athletes were given just a flat out another year of eligibility. And I think they're working with schools and scholarship numbers and all that to accommodate that. I think there may be some exemptions as far as numbers for baseball, how many guys you can bring in that include kind of back counting a couple guys for the extra year of eligibility. But I think you're opening a whole nother can of worms when you talk about opting out. And I mean, that's something. I know it's player safety. These guys are amateur athletes. But man, if you're on a scholarship and you're not honoring your scholarship, I think you should forfeit that year almost, because it does put the school and the league and the NCAA as a whole in a predicament, especially when you've got certain conferences canceling their season.
That's the problem. I think there's no right answer. It's if you go down that road, then are you going to face a lawsuit because now you're forcing me to play? You're forcing me to do this. It makes it tough, man. I don't know that there is a right answer.
Yeah.
I was waiting on JP to chime in, but he didn't. So I'll just do this plug real quick. James Barger is here and says, Talkin VAWLS. I bought a t-shirt last year. Will you have new shirts available this year? If so, can I buy one? We have the official Talkin VAWLS logo shirt, which you can see the logo right here on my microphone. We also have the cartoon t-shirts, which you can see on Dauber's microphone. We have the Talkin VAWLS logo hoodies. If you guys want any of that merchandise, the links are in the description below. You can go pick them up right now, and they will ship out as soon as possible. I don't know what we're going to do this year. I'm sure if you guys demand it, we'll come up with some fun ideas. I'm sure we can come up with something fun to do for new merchandise. But definitely, if you want that, check it out. The links are in the description. But if you want to do a simple thing, just hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. All that good stuff helps us out. Let's go back to the schedule. I want to go back to the schedule. We talked about it at the top of the show, but I want to get back into it. Let's talk about predictions, because how different did things look 6 to 8 months ago when we're talking about what are the expectations going into this season for Jeremy Pruitt? What do we want? We're looking at what, 8 wins, 9 wins. You want to see improvement. You want to see this football team continue to get better year in and year out. JP, how much do your expectations change when you're looking at a 10-game season and all 10 games are in the SEC? Guys in the chat, let us know, how many wins do you expect looking at this schedule, JP?
I expect a minimum of 6 is what I expect. And honestly, I think that we really need to win 7 and that's considering taking care of the teams that you should beat and then beating one of the big 4. Like I talked about in the offensive line video that we put out there the other day, I really, really think, especially if Mays can get eligible, which I know we're going to hit on that here in a minute, but if he can get eligible, you really, really have to like the potential of this offensive line. And I really think that right there could be the position that really gets Tennessee over the hump, so to speak, and gets them at least seven wins, and who knows, possibly more. But at a minimum, I think that Tennessee fans should expect to win 6 games.
I'll say this: if you've not listened to it yet, I highly encourage you to go back and listen to JP's offensive line preview that he did. And we're going to continue to drop these every week. I did a special teams one, but I kind of talked about some other stuff in that. It's special teams, didn't have a whole lot to say. JP did a great preview of this offensive line, and if it doesn't light a fire under your ass, I don't even know that you can consider yourself a Tennessee fan. It's JP, I'm not blowing smoke. It is the best video you have ever done on the Talkin VAWLS Network. It was so good. I encourage you guys to go check it out. Dauber's going to be.
Do I get?
Huh? No. I'll tell you what. I'll give you 100% raise. How about that?
Wow.
Does that tickle your fancy?
No,
but seriously,
100% times 0
exactly.
is still 0, Boogie.
It is what it is. But I tell you what, when people start dropping super chats like Rick and Melissa with that $5 super chat, maybe you'll make a little bit more money. Looking forward to another season with you guys. Go Vols. Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate the support. All the super chats basically just get recycled into promoting this show. But we definitely appreciate the support. But again, guys, go back, listen to that video. Dauber's going to be dropping a preview of the defensive line coming up on Monday, maybe Sunday, just depends what's going on. But check those out. We're going to be dropping them week in and week out. Talkin VAWLS is going to move forward as if we're playing football. That's what we're going to do. So check it out, and then we'll continue to move forward. Probably maybe do a live stream, I guess, the week of the first game. I don't know. If you guys demand it, we'll do more. That it is what it is. Dauber, what do you think looking at the schedule? How many wins? What's your expectation? What do you want out of this schedule?
Oh man, I'd love to go with Bryant Rockwell there and say 10-0, but
feels like 98.
You know, realistically, I'm kind of in the same boat with JP. You got to see at least 6, I think. I could potentially see this team with 8 wins, though. That, like JP said, beating the teams that you should beat, taking care of your business, and then getting one more against Alabama, Florida, or Georgia. And we've looked at the schedule and the way it sets up, and the way that some of the teams we've got coming in, what they're coming off of. So it does shape up to be a little bit more favorable in terms of that for us with what is on their schedules prior to playing us. I mean, if you want to look at some history, go back to 98. How much luck and things going the right way did we have to have for that season?
Tons of luck.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Arkansas,
mean, it's
Arkansas. I mean, really?
what? Look at the Syracuse game.
Yep.
I mean, there's the Florida game was tight. Yeah, the stumble and fumble against Arkansas. I mean, it's you have to just be a completely dominant team to steamroll through your schedule. A lot of times it does take a little bit of luck. And you know, this is such a wacky and weird year. Conference only, just 10 games. All these other things that are playing into it. I don't know, but like I said, with how we finished the year last year, coming off that momentum, riding into kind of what we had 2 practices in the spring.
I think so, yeah.
Before everything was cut down, starting practice today. You know, I'm fired up. I'm ready. I'm ready to get the ball down and kick it off, and let's see what these boys can do. I'd love to see 6 at least. You know, 8, 9, 10, whatever. Let's just play football.
I tell you what, today, look, we have done a few live streams. We've done a few videos over the last few months. Today is the first day that I've been legit excited about college football. It feels like we are moving forward and this college football season is going to take place. And that may change. Look, this whole thing's fluid. It's up and down, and it may change 3 to 4 weeks from now. But as of today, I'm excited, man. I am excited for football.
Well, I mean, our last 3 or 4 live streams have been all speculation and what ifs. And I wonder about this. Are they going to do this? Well, maybe we'll play. We've got a schedule. We've got a schedule today. Like you said, we're moving forward. We are on Talking Vols. We're proceeding as if September 26th, there will be football.
So let's go through the schedule. Let's do it today. How about let's do it today, JP? How about that? You want to do that? I kind of like having the schedule up on the screen, and we're not. Our ugly mugs aren't up there. Let's go through the schedule week by week, kind of. Maybe not. You guys are talking 6 to 7 wins. JP, what's your guarantees? What's your toss-ups?
I mean, guarantees. I mean, you got to look at Missouri. I'm just going to go with Kentucky because if Tennessee loses to Kentucky, it's just bad. Arkansas, Vanderbilt. I mean, that's your guarantees in my opinion, should be. And then your should wins should be South Carolina and
Missouri.
And well, I thought didn't I say them as a guarantee, but maybe I didn't.
I feel pretty good with this team opening up the season 2-0. You got South Carolina, and yeah, it's on the road, but like we mentioned,
that's what I expect. Yes.
What does on the road even mean at this point? But you're coming off of a 41-21 domination in Knoxville last year. Based on what South Carolina's bringing back compared to what Tennessee's bringing back, coaching staffs, I like Tennessee to open up the season 2-0. You got Missouri coming off of Alabama.
Weren't you petrified of Missouri last year, JP? Or
was that was UAB, Dauber.
That was UAB. That was UAB.
Okay,
that was UAB.
Glad we didn't get them this year.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm glad Georgia State's not on the schedule though. Fellas.
I don't want JP to be all up in arms over UAB again. I had to make a video guaranteeing a win over UAB just to calm him down.
Hey, but in all seriousness, I mean, yes, this is going to be, without a doubt, the toughest 10-game schedule, probably maybe even the toughest schedule in school history. But as an actual football fan, you have to love the idea of not having any of these cupcake games. I mean, you have to love the idea of not having to play, a FCS school and, having those games that, barring some kind of craziness like Georgia State, obviously, but just for the pure excitement excitement of it. I mean, isn't it going to be great if this season goes off as planned, and knowing that every single Saturday you've got 10 Saturdays starting September the 20 whatever it is 24th or 26th, whatever it is, that you've got 10 Saturdays that it's going to be SEC football. I mean, even when Tennessee's not playing, or even when their game's already over with, or whatever, I mean, you're guaranteed that you're going to be able to watch a SEC matchup. I think that's just absolutely phenomenal.
How do you think the TV contracts are going to work out? Do you think we're going to have more than ESPN, CBS, and SEC Network?
Well, you're not getting Big Ten games.
Yeah,
you're not getting Pac-12 games.
So somebody's going to pick it up.
I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know if I have no idea how all that works. I don't know. Obviously ESPN and all the CBS have the rights to the SEC telecast. So are they going to sell those? Who knows?
Here's a great question from Hillbilly Sportsman, and let me get the schedule pulled back up here. Where is the upset win? If you had to pick an upset, Dauber, what are you picking? What's the upset win for this season?
I like the third Saturday in October.
Oh my goodness!
Against Kentucky?
No, against Alabama.
What?
I think it's the. I think it's the fourth Saturday.
JP, come on, JP, come on. You know what he means.
Okay, it is the fourth. It is the fourth.
Dauber, I was with you. You had a moment going. It was going to be epic, and JP.
I know. I like the Alabama game. Alabama again. They're coming off of Georgia. It's in Knoxville. They've got a brand new quarterback. Man, I just it shapes up. It depends on how that Georgia game goes at Georgia. If we come out and have good, solid quarterback play, JP touched on the offensive line in his video. I think we're going to be able to run the ball well. If we've got a quarterback that can get it to some of these young wide receivers, and our defense, man, gosh, I'm getting ready to drop the defensive line preview coming up here in a couple days, and man, you all should be chomping at the bit looking at the things I'm looking at right now. So just a little sneak peek right there. Whet your appetite on that. Make sure you like and subscribe, and that way you can get the notifications when we do drop new content, and you'll see that come out. But man, I like the way the Alabama game shapes up. I like the Florida game being at the end of the year, because that could come down to potentially all the marbles in the East.
I don't know. There's just something about that Georgia game that just sticks out. I'm telling you.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
There's something about it. I mean, they play Auburn the week before us, and then they get Bama the following week. So we're sandwiched right in between that. And I understand, there shouldn't be any kind of letdowns. I understand that. But I actually like Tennessee going on the road. I mean, if you remember, that's probably Pruitt's biggest win to date was going to Auburn and winning. So I think you could probably say that maybe Garantano tends to play a little bit better on the road, take out the Florida debacle. Well, I don't know about Garantano. So anyway,
we're talking about Alabama last year.
Yeah. So anyway, that's probably not a good thing to say, but
I'll delete that on the edit.
Yeah, on the edit. But I just think, I mean, either way that you spin it, no matter who starts at quarterback for Georgia, it's going to be some kid that hasn't practiced, but basically from now until the season starts in that offense. I mean, neither one of their quarterbacks had any spring practice, and I just feel like that they lost a ton on offense. Yes, their defense is going to be good. I'm not discrediting that at all. It could be possibly the top defense in the country, but I feel like that Pruitt can scheme it up and make that a close football game and potentially pull off the upset between the hedges.
I'm with you. I like that Georgia game, but and a lot of people talking about Florida in the chat,
and I like the Florida game too. I do.
Crazy as this sounds like I am a lunatic. I don't even consider that Florida game an upset. It's like, I don't know, man. And I know that sounds like I am insane, but I expect to beat Florida. The last few years, I have expected to beat Florida, even if it hasn't gone Tennessee's way.
Well, those teams have been so much more even than what some of the scores have indicated, just because of just crap quarterback play and just horrible offensive line play and
special teams play.
Like yes,
crazy
yeah,
stuff.
Oh yeah,
crazy stuff.
We've given games away to them, but I'll never count a Florida win as a predicted win. I've been that bunch is I've said it over and over. They could field a high school team and put Florida helmets on, and they could play with Tennessee. So
we have almost 50 people hanging out in the live chat, and we're over a month away from football season.
Starving for football.
That is it makes me so happy. You guys are awesome. You guys are Talkin VAWLS. Like, it's not us, it's you. We appreciate you being here. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We hit as much of the chat as we can, but we are just glad you're here. We want to get in, we kind of broke down the schedule. We kind of got into all the predictions and stuff. I know a lot of people are asking about Jeremy Banks in practice. Let's get into some of the stuff that came out this afternoon from Pruitt's press conference, and that is that Jeremy Banks has been reinstated, and we fully expect him to compete for a job at inside linebacker.
We need that depth too.
I think Jeremy Banks, look, we've seen the way he runs the football, the mindset he brings, the attitude he brings. He is the perfect guy to play linebacker for the University of Tennessee. I'm always for, Pruitt always seems to say the right things, and I'm always for giving a kid a second chance. Right, wrong, indifferent, it doesn't matter. I think these kids, what's Jeremy Banks going to do? We talked about it when he got kicked off the team. If he is off the team for good, what's he going to do? But I think this conversation took place a long time ago. I think Jeremy Banks knew he had the opportunity to come back to this football team, and I think he has been motivated and driven to get back to this point. And I think we are going to see special things out of that kid this year. Dauber, what do you think about Jeremy Banks being reinstated, but also at the inside linebacker position?
Oh, like you said, we've seen the kid do anything that he's been asked on the field to help his team out, from running the ball and dealing with some fumble issues, tendencies there, to saying, hey, man, why don't you go over to the other side of the ball? We think you can help us there. Bouncing back and forth. He does play with kind of a chip on his shoulder, runs the ball angry, and I think he approaches the defensive side much the same way. Very plays with passion. And I think he will be an asset to this team. And like you touched on, and we've talked about Pruitt multiple times, and the way that he's not just a football coach. He is molding and shaping these young men for the future, for lives after football, to be a better young man, to be a better husband, father, employee.
Not to cut you off, but can you think of a better coach since Fulmer that has been driven in that direction like Pruitt is, shaping young men versus trying to win football games?
You talking about at Tennessee?
Yes.
Well, gosh, no. Look who we've had down there.
I'm
like
just making. I'm just making a point, JP. I was feeding Dauber to continue his point.
Sorry.
Thanks, though. Thanks for making my point.
But derailing, you're just
Me and Dob are flowing.
He's lobbing it up for me to knock out. And
yeah, like it's all right. It's all right. Let's regroup.
No, but I mean, we've talked about it, and it is more than football, and you see things like what's coming out of Florida State right now. Kids putting up tweets and messages, letters about being lied to by the coaching staff, being asked to hide positive COVID test results, feeling that they're not being kept in the loop. You just don't see stuff like that at Tennessee. And when there is an issue, it's dealt with. We'll look at Emmett Gooden, potentially could have been a huge year for him. Messes up off the field. And there are certain things where there's a line and you just don't cross it. But like you said, it's one of those cases. Look at Juwan Jennings and all the stuff that he went through at the end of Butch Jones, Brady Hoke, all that being kicked off the team. And then Pruitt comes in, sits down with Fulmer and Jennings. They set up all these things during the offseason that he's got to go through. We've seen some other guys, and I'm sure there's been some, anger counseling or, certain hurdles that they have to go over to make their way back onto the team. And it is a thing. It's not a right. These guys are super uber talented athletes, but that doesn't mean you just get to play for the University of Tennessee. It's a privilege.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Pruitt and staff down there are using the mistakes that have been made as teachable moments, and in the long run, if it is something that a guy can come back from and be a better person, then I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
We've had a couple of comments there in the chat. I see that are asking about Mays. I think some people may not have heard, but it came out late there this evening, I guess, that Cade Mays has been denied by the NCAA. So Tennessee is now appealing that. So same thing that happened, it sounds like, to Aubrey Solomon last year. He was originally denied. So it'd be interesting to see. It's just frustrating for Tennessee. It seems like every single transfer that Tennessee gets like this, it's never easy. And then you see these other schools, just take JT Daniel, for example. I mean, he transfers, he goes to Georgia, and within a month, he's already cleared. So there's just no rhyme or reason as far as what the NCAA does. It's just frustrating. And it just seems like that this Tennessee's always on the short end of these sticks. Seems like they're always.
I was telling Boogie before we came on that Kevin Mays, Cade and Cooper's dad, said that he was going to give Georgia and the NCAA another finger.
Yeah.
Let me hit this real quick. Sandy drops a $4 super sticker, and all that is throwing money at us. That's just a tip. That's just a tip for myself, Dauber, and JP being here doing the show. We appreciate all the support. Whether you're here just hitting that thumbs up, subscribing to the channel, dropping super chats, super stickers, all that stuff is great. Buying merch is so cool. I'm still waiting to be out in public and see somebody wearing a Talkin VAWLS shirt. That's what I'm still waiting for. It'll be so great. I can't wait for that moment to happen. JB, what do you think about Mays? If you had to put a percentage on it, do you think he has a chance of playing this year? No idea. Just absolutely no idea.
I mean, no idea. I mean, I will say this, that I would fully expect that if he doesn't become eligible this year, that he'll never play at Tennessee, because, I mean, he's going to end up declaring for the draft.
I agree.
You really think so?
I mean, it's the whole NCAA transfer portal and everything that is about all of that is just absurd. I mean, take for instance, we'll stick at Tennessee. Look at Uros Plasevich. The kid had a whole 3/4 of the season taken away from him, waiting on the NCAA and the appeals process for his immediate eligibility waiver. And they say, oh, it's a case-by-case basis, and it's all about the student athlete. But you look at the situation with Cade Mays, not just because it benefits us, but there is a legal litigation with his father and the school that he's transferring from. But you look at all these quarterbacks that transfer, and they're not sitting for 5, 6, 7, 8 months to figure out if they're going to be eligible. It is
what
almost
about Tua's
Yeah.
little brother?
Yeah.
I mean, he goes to Maryland, and he's already cleared, if I'm not mistaken.
It happens all across the country. All across the country.
That's what I understand. I don't understand. And Brandon Hudson, I mean, he brings up a good point there. I mean, from what we've read and heard, for whatever reason, the waiver for Cade Mays wasn't even sent in until sometime in July. So that doesn't make any sense. Why would Tennessee wait until then? I mean, he transferred after the season. So I mean, he was on campus in January.
Well, that
so
makes
why do
me
we wait?
That makes me play devil's advocate and say, what was Tennessee waiting on?
I know,
because even Hubs and everybody at VolQuest kind of touched on that and said, it's not even been submitted. Like, what are they waiting on? Let me hit this super chat.
Georgia causing problems with it?
But Tennessee should still be able to submit it regardless of what Georgia's doing, right?
Honestly, I don't know how that process works. Honestly, I think that they send in some kind of document to the NCAA, and they've got, I don't know, they got somebody up there just picks them out randomly or something. Who knows?
Will Good just threw $5 at us and says, let's go Big Orange. Let me tell you guys, like when we do these shows, we plan to go 1 hour. We plan to go 60 minutes. But when you guys start throwing super chats at us and super stickers at us, we want to stay live and keep going. So if you're gonna keep throwing money at us, we'll keep going. Like, just look what happens. Jack VAWLS. He doesn't even want to say anything. He just here's $20 and says, thanks for your effort. Guys, like it's so like, Dauber, what does it mean when somebody throws a $20 super chat for no reason?
Man, I still can't believe that we've got 50 people sitting here listening to us go on and on.
This is what we do if we were at JP's house. Just on the back deck talking.
I mean, it just blows
you
my
would
mind.
have somebody in a headlock, Boogie.
Maybe. I'm getting close to that point. We'll see what happens.
Hey, I'll throw something out here. How about the basketballs? I know JP and I, our basketballs show kind of got cut short in March, but
excited.
Pastor Barnes has them rolling, man.
Yeah. Retirement Rick is out of retirement for sure.
Reeling in the 5 stars, man. They have a moderately successful season this year. The potential for recruiting next season is just going to be off the charts, man. Super exciting stuff going on in Knoxville at Pratt Pavilion with the basketballs.
Yeah, it's exciting for sure. Exciting. I'm excited about it. I mean, there's potential that, as crazy as it sounds, that they could end up signing a better class in 2021 than they did this past year, which I mean would just be crazy to have back-to-back classes like that in Knoxville.
Well, and that's that little tidbit you threw to me the other day after the kid committed was that Josiah Jordan James may
Yeah,
not even start next year.
Yeah, there's rumblings that he may not. Yeah.
Potential for a 5-star kid not to start based on what's coming in. You got 4 returning starters. I know it's a team that just missed the NCAA tournament, but man,
it's going to be a totally different team, though.
absolutely.
Totally different.
Back to football. I
was going to say, dude, I'm letting you guys talk. I encourage everybody to check out the Talkin VAWLS Basketballs show. I'm not a big diehard basketball fan, but I appreciate you guys putting in work with the basketball team. James Barger has said 14 times that he's leaving, but he's still saying that he's looking forward to the defensive line preview from Dauber. It'll be up either Sunday or Monday. Either way, just be looking for it. I guess we got to wrap this thing up. Is there anything else we need to cover? We covered Mays. We covered Jeremy Banks coming back.
When's the next live show?
I don't know. What do you guys want to do? Are we to the point that we should go live every Wednesday leading up to the season? I don't know. If we get more super chats, I'll go live every night of the week. I'm just saying. I can give JP and Dauber a raise when you guys start throwing super chats at us. But I guess we probably need to wrap this thing up.
$0 right now.
Yeah, I multiplied it by 100 tonight, so we'll see what happens.
Boogie, you were talking about seeing somebody out in public with a Talkin VAWLS shirt. I seen that happen when we were in Jacksonville for the bowl game.
Who'd
that
you
guy.
See?
Well,
Wayne?
I don't. Well, there was a guy. Brandy had it on, and the guy yelled out "Talkin VAWLS," and I went over and talked to him and stuff. No, I didn't. I didn't get to meet up with Wayne that game, but he was a guy when we were walking in or whatever. He saw it and yelled and went over and talked to him. So he may be on here tonight. I don't know.
How about this? We'll play it by ear. We'll be watching practice this week. The notes will be coming in. Tons of stuff came in today, which was awesome. I'm so excited about it. If enough stuff comes in and we can go live every Wednesday, I mean, we're over a month away from the season. But if you guys want the content and we continue to have 50 people in the live chat, we will go live every Wednesday leading up to the season. We were hoping to do some meet and greet stuff, and we were hoping to do another live stream at the Tap House in Kingsport, but obviously all this crap has ruined that. So I don't know what this season is going to look like, but we look forward to sharing it with you guys. Again, make sure you do hit that thumbs up. It helps the channel. Subscribe, all that good stuff. Rick and Melissa throwing another $1 at us. We appreciate all the love and support. If you want Talkin VAWLS merch, all those links are in the description. For Vols JP, for Dauber, my name is Boogie Bentley, and follow us on Twitter at TalkinVAWLS_pod. We may be back next Wednesday. I just got one thing left to say, and that is go Big Orange.
Come on.